Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking on Capnclydes MTG. I'm back. Bigger in life, twice as ugly. Vacation's over and it's back to work. Haven't slept in 36 hours, and after this video, my butt's going to bed. So, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I'll be putting some vacation videos together later to squeeze in between the MTG news because we're getting ready to hit a dry spell as the new set comes out for the box opening series. And just in case you guys want to see it, you don't like it, you ain't going to watch it. Not trying to brag. But trust me, if a broke dude like me can put some money together to do this, so can you. And I highly suggest you guys see the world because at the rate we're going to blow it up before we're dead. So anyway, with all that said, let's get into it. We've got quite a few leaks today from Duskmourn. Starting off with this little private office. So on the white side, we have private office 2 white and 2. Whenever you unlock this door, destroy all creatures power 3 or greater. Lecture hall is the other side, 2 blue and 5. All other permanents you control have hexproof. Interesting choice for blue, especially for 7 mana. But I mean, if you need a wrath and you need hexproof for some reason, there you have it. So yeah, again, I think it's gonna be more of a sideboard card because I'm gonna be fair, we've seen the 3 mana wrath and oh boy does it look good. Moving on. Next we have the Charred Foyer, which is a room that is a red and 3 colorless. Beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play it this turn. That's already sweet. Not like a 4 mana Howling Mine for just you. Then we have Warped Space for 2 red and 4. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast from exile. Recasting is busted. We know it. So yeah, this comes out for 4. 2 turns later, you cast Warp Space. And you're probably thinking, but Clyde, I'm playing red. I don't have mana ramp. How am I going to hit my lands? At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library, you may play it. This includes lands. So at 2 cards a whack, if you get this out for 4, you're going to hit your lands by turn 6. If you don't, that's just awful luck for you. And to be fair, if you're playing this in a mono red deck, I'm not sure what you're doing because there's better places to play this. Like Eldrazi Commanders, Limited's obviously an all-star. I think it's going to be great in Standard. And many other decks where you just abuse all them expensive creatures that you can just play for free by exiling top card of your library and just throw them on the battlefield for nothing. So yeah, it's going to be a popular mythic. Get them while they're hot, especially the foil ones. Next, we have Fear of Abduction. 2 white and 4 enchantment creature. Additional cost of the spell, you have to exile a creature you control. Get it? Alien, abduction? Haha, giggity. 5/5 flyer. Whenever it enters, exile target creature an opponent controls. When Fear of Abduction leaves the battlefield, return each card exiled to its owner's hands. Pretty good with spells that have ETB effects. That's enter the battlefield. But to be fair, for 6 mana, it's probably only going to see limited play at best. I mean, 6 mana, 5/5 flyer that is basically removal is fine. But you have to exile a creature. Like, there's so much drawbacks to this. Can only be good and limited. So there you have it. Next, we have Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Sound familiar? Arabella, Annabelle. Anyway. White and red for this 1/3. Whenever it attacks, deal X damage to each opponent where deal X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control, power 2 or less. That's right. It is Lightning Helix on a stick. Or in a stick. Doll. In a doll stick. Stick doll. Anyway. This is going to be bonkers. Especially in Limited and Standard. Expect to see decks built around this thing. Yes, it's legendary, but when you're playing Red Rush, who cares? You swing with it, your opponent kills it when they block. I swung with 4 creatures that are 2 or less. How about I bolt you in the face for 4, gain 4 life, and now I'll lay my second Arabella. Because it's legendary, you only have 1 in play, and I obviously will have a second one in my hand, probably a third, because that's just how that rolls when you play 4 of 1 card you only have 1 of on the field. So, yeah. Sweet uncommon. Get your foils. All right, now let's get into this. So we have the Friendly Ghost, white and 3 for a 2/4 flyer. Whenever it enters, target creature gets +2/+4 in a turn. Find common for limited. We have Unable to Scream, 1 blue removal card. So, enchant creature loses all abilities. It's a toy artifact. It's an 0/2. And if it's face down, it can't be turned face up. Great blue removal for limited. We have the Innocuous Rat, black and 1 for a 1/1. When it dies, Manifest Dread. That is amazing for limited. Just going to put that out there. I don't see it. There's so much possibility it could be played in standard. But it just won't. I hate to say that. Sorry, guys. But it is a rat for you rat decks out there, I guess. Next, we have Vanish from Sight. Blue and 3. Return target permanent. Target non-land permanent's owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. So you can target your own stuff. And then you surveil one, which if you put it on top, I would hope you wouldn't surveil. Or at least not put it on top and then surveil so you could have a... Anyway, point being. Basic blue removal for limited. Next, we have a Friendly Teddy. 2 colorless for a 2/2. When it dies, each player draws a card. As good as you think this is for limited, trust me, it's not. No. Unless you just need to draw cards because you got some kind of weird combo or bomb you want to get to, but even then, no. Next, we have a reprint. It's Murder. Black and 1, instant, destroy target creature. One of the best removal spells for limited and, honestly, most formats. Next, we have the Resurrected Cultist, black and 2 for a 4/1. It has Delirium for 2 black and 2. Return Resurrected Cultist from your graveyard to the battlefield, the finality counter on it. Obviously, you got to have 4 different card types, only the sorcery. But in limited, maybe even standard, 3 mana 4/1 that will kill almost anything. That you get to cast twice for 4 mana the second time. Probably going to be good. Next, we have the Hardened Escort, white and 2 for a 2/4. Whenever it attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains Indestructible. This is amazing for limited because with a 4 on the butt, it's going to be hard to kill, and whatever else you're swinging with is going to have Indestructible and get bigger. Yeah, it's going to be a limited all-star. Unfortunately, that's probably it. Then we have the Ragged Playmate, a red and 1 for a 2/2 artifact creature toy. 1 colorless target creature power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. It's fine for limited. We have Impossible Inferno, red and 4, deals 6 damage target creature. If you have Delirium, 4 or more, exile top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. Good removal spell, obviously limited only. Most Valuable Slayer, red and 3 for this 2/4. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike to the end of turn. This is amazing because that can make this a 3/4 first striker. Or anything else you got that's large. And again, 4 on the butt, hard to kill. Then we have Found Footage, 1 colorless clue. You may look at face down creatures your opponents control anytime. 2, sacrifice it, surveil 2, then draw a card. This is going to be amazing and a starter in all limited decks. Well, let's be honest. The ability to see what they got face down is amazing. Also, if they don't play face down cards, who cares? It's 3 mana to surveil 2 and then draw a card. I would take just that since it plays in any color. And the other thing it does is just a bonus while it sits on the battlefield. I'm just going to say it. So, yeah. Limited All-Star. Next, we have the Cryptid Inspector. Cryptids, man, remember that? Wow. Anyway, green and 2 for this 2/3 Vigi. Whenever a face-down permanent you control enters, or whenever the Cryptid Inspector or another permanent you control is turned face up, put a +1/+1 counter on Cryptid Inspector. Limited All-Star, we'll say. We have the Defiant Survivor, green and 2 for a 3/2. It has survival, which means at the end of at the beginning of your second main phase, if it is tapped, you may manifest dread. This card is nuts. Great for limited. Hell, this is probably good enough for standard. I mean, just the ability to swing at your opponent, and if they don't kill this, you just start spitting creatures on the battlefield. That's just insane. This is going to be in lots of decks. I mean, probably nothing really serious. I mean, standard, it'll be serious, but limited, it'll be serious. But past that, probably not. But, I mean, I would play one of these in a commander deck if I had green in it because make dudes. So, yeah. Next, we have the Cautious Survivor. Green and 3 for a 4/4. Already a great rate for a common. It has survival, beginning your second main phase, yada, yada, yada. If it's tapped, you gain 2 life. An amazing card for limited. Technically good enough for standard, but there are better cards at 4 that just do more, sadly enough. But this is a common, so what do you expect? We have Coordinated Clobbering. For 1 green sorcery, tap 1 or 2 target untapped creatures you control. They each deal damage equal to their power target creature and opponent controls. It's okay removal. It relies on you having a creature or 2 that has enough power to kill something, which might not always happen, we'll just say, if shit gets too big. Also, if you have no creatures on the battlefield, this is just a dead card. But playable and limited, so whatever. All right, next we have the Optimistic Scavenger. So 1 white, 1/1 has Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, or whenever you unlock a room, whenever you fully unlock a room, play a +1/+1 counter on it. This is an all-star for limited. And if there's a room deck, maybe standard, but this is like White Weenie. You start putting rooms in there, it's going to get weird. But in an enchantment deck, because notice it says, whenever an enchantment you control enters, not only once a turn. This can get out of hand quick. So, yeah, this is going to see play. Because, I mean, white-blue enchantment deck, this is just gas. Then we have Midnight Mayhem, red, white, and 2 sorcery. You get 3 1/1 red gremlin creature tokens. Gremlins you control have menace, lifelink, and haste on their turn. Not the greatest thing, but will get you across the finish line at the end of the day with a couple of blockers. Or just some life gain. It is a sorcery, so no sneak attacking or anything weird like that, but 4 mana for 3 1/1s is with lifelink, haste, menace. Not bad. Good limited card. Intruding Soul Rager. Red, blue, and nothing. So red and blue for a 2/2 vigilance. Already great. Sacrifice a room. The Soul Rager deals 2 damage to each opponent, and you draw a card. Now we're talking. We're cooking with gas on this one. Limited all-star. Probably a standard all-star. Maybe even some older formats. Definitely commander. I mean, if you've got nothing but rooms for days, just start sacking them and drawing cards to get more rooms, to do more things. Like, this will be a standard deck. Just, I don't see how it can't be. Next, we have the Flesh Borrower. You get it? Borrow, whatever. Anyway, green and 1 for this 2/2 Death Toucher. Whenever it attacks, another target creature control gains Death Touch in a turn. Oh, great. Just what we need for the poison deck in Commander. Thanks, Wizards. But anyway, great deck for limited. Good enough for standard. I mean, 2 mana, 2/2 Death Toucher kills anything. And the fact that if you swing with it, something else you're swinging with gets Death Touch too. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to kill this insect or everything's going to have Death Touch all the time. So, good enough for limited, definitely standard, maybe. Definitely commander. Next, we have the Rootwise Survivor. 2 green and 3 for a 3/4 with haste. Interesting. As survival at the beginning of your second main phase, if it's tapped, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target lands you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature token. In addition to other types, it gains haste. Okay, so it's a walking non-legendary Nissa after you swing. I mean, it seems fine for limited, but I just played Nissa. Anyway, we have a Gremlin Tamer. That's what they used to say about me in college. Anyway, white-blue for a 2/2 with Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters or fully unlock a room, you get a 1/1 red gremlin creature token. Very interesting. I mean, there's some combos here. Nothing really unlimited. There are some ways to change all creature types to one type. But I don't know. It seems fine. We have next the Abhorrent Oculus. It is a mythic, so blue and 2 for a 5/5. Here we go. Additional cost to cast this spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard, and that's going to be tough sometimes. As flying, like a giant floating eyeball, beholder. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, manifest dread. Holy cow, you get a 2/2 on your opponent's turn. Yeah, mythic, limited mythic all-star, just all-star for limited. Great for standard, gonna be fine. It'll be a little slow in the uptake to get out, but hey, we got sackable things to get lands and other things to throw into the graveyard to make this thing playable on turn 3. We'll just put it right there. All right, next we have Valgavath's Onslaught. Guy, I butcher that name every time. Somebody, I need to see how somebody pronounces that. Anyway, green XX sorcery. Manifest dread X times. Then put X +1/+1 counters on each of those creatures. So for 3 mana, you can manifest dread once and put a +1/+1 counter on it, making a 3/3 for 3. Good rate. Or for 5, you can make 2 2/2s, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each of them, making 2 4/4s for 5 mana. Amazing. Or you could cast for 7 and get 3 3/3s with 3 +1/+1 counters and get 3 6/6s before you turn them face up and make them really freaking big. This thing is a limited bomb. Probably will have a standard deck built around it with mana ramp. Just going to put that out there. Because who cares if you flip the cards up when they're all coming into play as a 2/2 creature with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Who cares? Yeah. Older formats, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think there's a whole lot of stuff going on with this. Past that, in a deck that can dedicate the kind of mana that this card needs to really make it go off. All right, next we have Withering Torment in the new border, black and 2 for an instant destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose 2 life. This is going to be big in standard and limited, with this new set having enchantments and creatures of both types, and you only lose 2 life. This is better than the previous 1 black and 1 destroy enchantment or creature, lose life equal to the casting cost. That got rough sometimes, I'm just going to say it. And this does target, and it's only 2 life. So, this is going to be very popular very quick. Next, we have Enduring Courage, 2 red and 2 for this 3/3. Whenever the other creature you control enters, put +2/+0 and gains haste in a turn. That's pretty good for other creatures. When Encourage dies, if it was a creature returned to the battlefield under its owner's control, it's an enchantment. This is nuts. This is what Red Rush has always dreamed of. Oh my god. And this thing is not legendary. You can stack up like 3 of these things and put a 1/1 goblin in play that has trample. Trust me, they're out there. And it becomes a 7/1 with trample and haste, and you just go ham. You're coming to get some. Like, this is going to be part of a red deck. All right, next we have the Grand Entryway. White and 1, whenever you unlock this door, create a 1/1 white Glimmer enchantment creature token. Great card, again, an enchantment, a way to draw cards with other cards in white. For 2, we have Elegant Rotunda, white and 2. Whenever you unlock this door, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Not that great, but usable. The first part is going to be the best part. Especially with those enchantment synergies. Then we have the Wickerfolk Thresher, green and 3 for this 5/4. Great rate, great power and toughness. Delirium, whenever the Thresher attacks, if there are 4 more cards of any type of different types in your graveyard, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't put that card on the battlefield, put it into your hand. The sauce. So this thing's not a Wicker Folk Thresher. It's a Thresher your opponent's asser, because this is insane. 4 mana for a 5/4 that you're probably going to get the ability at least once. And if it's a land, you just mana ramp to 5. Probably 6 on turn 5 when you actually swing with it. This is insane. If they don't stop it, you start drawing cards, putting land in play. Out of hand, quick, not legendary. You can do it multiple times. Ooh, daddy. Fan me down. This green card's freaking hot. All right. So, with that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. It's bedtime. Sorry it took so long. I'm highly caffeinated and still slow as dirt. So, till next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you crossing the game table. Oh, I said drag my ass to bed. Jesus.